Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. We're going to be going over what's happening today and some sports news here on this Wednesday night on Season 7, Episode 15 on the Fire Sports Pod. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. And we're going to be going over some news coming from the NBA and the NFL. This news popped off yesterday, and we got to get to it. So, first off, just want to let you guys know if you can't make and watch the show, you guys can go on TikTok Live and check us out right now. But let's get right into it. Colin says, "Go Pacers!" Lakers and Pacers are playing right now. Let's hope the Lakers witness that. So we got to go over some news. We're gonna start with some big news coming out of the NBA, and that is the loss of Damian Lillard for the Milwaukee Bucks. This news broke, I think it was yesterday, I believe so. If not, it was yesterday or it was the day before. But the news broke that Damian Lillard, who has been out with injury, has a deep vein thrombosis in his right calf, which basically means a blood clot. And this is not the first one we've seen this year. We've had one of the Thompson twins who plays on the Pistons. He was out in the beginning of the year because of a blood clot. And then on top of that, we also had Victor Wembanyama end his season with a blood clot for the Spurs as well. So we've had three high valued two high valued stars, one guy that's up and coming, and Dame, Victor, and one of the Thompson twins. So now, obviously, this is a little news. We could have just did this on TikTok, right, for you guys out there who's on the TikTok live. But the point of the matter is that some people were thinking. I know Patrick Beverly. If you guys don't know, he has his own podcast. He was out there saying that the Bucks were one of his guys that he thought that they could make it out of the East. And for me, that is quite literally wrong. I don't know if in any world that Mr. Patrick Beverly decided to think that the Bucks actually have a shot at doing anything in the East. I think they would have definitely made it out of the first round, and if not the second round. But to get to the third and the fourth round, I think is pretty crazy. I do not see them really getting even close to the Eastern Conference. So I don't know where this came from. Obviously, in the beginning of the season, we had a lot of people had high hopes for the Bucks with Dame, then trading them Kyle Kuzma. I know you guys be thinking that Kyle Kuzma is not good, but he's not terrible. He's better than Middleton was at this stage in his career. So I definitely think that the Bucks, this took a hit. This basically killed any chance they really got in the East. Obviously, you still got Giannis, you still got Kuzma, but I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with anything without Damian Lillard, the clutch gene, the guy, Dame time, his 3-point sniping. You're not doing anything, and it's sad because the Bucks were high for the last 2 years with Dame in the lineup, and they have really not panned out as well as they should have been. So for me, it's a loss. Dame is my second favorite player behind LeBron. Just the way he plays the game, his atmosphere to the game, and just the way he prepares himself and the way he speaks about the game, where he says that he leaves the talking crap to the side. He lets his game do the talking. That's one of the quotes that I always admire. A lot of NBA players say, but Dame, when I heard it, he said it. And it's something that I take to heart as well. Whoever person that plays sports, you never want to have talking be your thing. Should try to have the game do your talking. I tell my players all that all the time. But so yeah, this is going to be a big loss. He's out for the remainder of the year. He's 34. He's getting up there in age. And soon we'll be in without the league's two best shooters in the game, and that is Steph Curry and Dame relatively soon. But I appreciate the likes. Thanks again. If you guys are new to the live, don't forget to drop a follow as well as a like. We do this 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my shows for my show YouTube. And on top of that, we've been doing March Madness a lot. Eddie, appreciate the likes. But we'll be back to March Madness on Friday, as well as talking maybe some MLB stuff. We'll get to that at the end of today's show. So, yeah, just to get you guys knowing what's happening around the NBA. Obviously, we're cutting down to the end of the season. But man, having Dame now out for the Bucks, and then having Victor out for that significant time for the Spurs out for the year. They really kind of, after the All-Star break, that was pretty much it. Everyone kind of called it quits on the Spurs. They weren't making any run without Victor. But for me, I really think that the Bucks are kind of done. They're just gonna have to go into next season. They're going to definitely win the first round. I don't have a problem with that. If they get in the play-in, I think they'll get past that. But the Bucks aren't doing anything without Damian Lillard. But yeah, that was our first segment, guys. About 5 minute segment, give or take. And we'll be going into some more news that's like more like caring about it for next year, for this coming year for the NFL. And I don't know, you guys let me know who's in the chat. Did you guys like the signing by the Patriots? Stefon Diggs going to the New England Patriots for a 3-year, $69 million deal. I don't think he was worth that much money. I like the Patriots picking him up. I just think that he wasn't worth that much money. But nonetheless, he's going to be a Patriot. Only spent one season with the Houston Texans after tearing his ACL. Could have had Cup. And yeah, if you were going to pay that guy that much money, Stefon Diggs, I agree with you, Liam. You probably should have went with Cooper Kupp, because I think Cooper Kupp is a little bit of a better player. At his age, Cooper Kupp, if I'm not mistaken, is definitely younger than Stefon Diggs, and I think he's just a better overall receiver. And both of them have health problems, but Stefon Diggs has had a major monster problem last year with the torn ACL. So I definitely would say that you definitely probably should have went with Cooper Kupp. Thoughts on the Warriors rivalry aside? What, the one with Miami? What are we talking about? What Warriors rivalry? If it's Miami, then what rivalry are we talking about? So yeah, back to the NFL. 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. He's heading to New England. I like this move by New England. Obviously, if you're a New England fan, you probably should have taken the Kupp guy, Cooper Kupp, instead of Stefon, because of the age, because of the injury history, and I would also say the money is very similar, and you get a much better, reliable threat on the offensive end. Just to put a pause on that with the Lakers. Sorry, I wasn't clear. I mean, it's a rivalry, I would say, because of LeBron and Steph. But other than that, I don't really think it's a rivalry, if I'm being honest. So I mean, obviously they play each other massively hard in the playoffs, and it's always a good series with Steph Curry and LeBron, and it's always the league's always doing really well when both of those guys are still playing and rocking and rolling. But to say it's a rivalry, I think that's just the wrong word. I'd say it's always a great series, because you got two of the best players to ever play this game, in LeBron and Steph. But other than that, and now Luka. Other than that, now you also have Jimmy. I would have to see how the thing plays out, but I really wouldn't say it's a rivalry. Now for me, again, to why I would say that the Patriots got a good spot is because if they rock, right, they bought in, they have Drake May. You have a very good, talented quarterback in him. You get Stefon Diggs. And if they get to be able to land Travis Hunter, you would be able to get two bona fide wide receivers for Drake May, because the whole thing last year is he just had no help, no offense, no help at all. And that, to me, was the biggest issue. Not because of him. I think it was because they just had no help, and that wide receivers. There was no named wide receivers that he had. So I think Drake May definitely becomes different if you bring in Stefon Diggs and you bring in a Travis Hunter, who actually also will help your defense out if he decides to play both positions at cornerback and wide receiver, which I think he will, and I think he can. So I really like that. But I think the Patriots squandered an opportunity to get a really better wide receiver, but also helped out. 80, appreciate the likes. Thank you very much. So I think it was a best of both worlds, I would say. But Stefon Diggs definitely shocked me going to the Patriots. I thought maybe the Cowboys were going to be involved in this trade, because or this signing, because of the fact that his brother plays for the Cowboys, and that was a lot of talk a couple 2 years ago when he was moving from Buffalo. So I thought that was something that we could have saw, but obviously we all know the Cowboys don't do shit in the offseason. It's just the same old crap. But so Stephon Diggs agrees to a 3-year, $69 million deal with the New England Patriots. A monster deal. Like I said, I just don't think he deserved that much money. It's just not the contract that I would give to a 31-year-old coming off a torn ACL. So that was that. We are currently 10 minutes and 45 seconds into the show. It's been a good show. Appreciate all the support out there on the TikTok live. If you guys are wondering, don't forget to drop a follow, as well as a like and a share. And I'll see you guys in our next segment, which is the one that probably you've been all waiting for. But I told you guys, I told you all that Russell Wilson was going to end up with the New York Giants. It just had to be. There was no way Aaron Rodgers was going to move from the Jets situation and go to a worse situation in the Giants. Not because of the management, not because of the coaching. It's more because of the team. The team was not even close to as good as the team is in with the Jets. The Giants are just abysmal. There was no way Aaron Rodgers was going to do that. They have a worse offensive line for the Giants than the Jets do. So why would he go there? I'm still sticking to my guns, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Rodgers will end up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. When that is going to be, I have no idea. I would say probably before the draft, because right now they got no quarterback. And we all know they're not re-signing Russell Wilson because he's going to the Giants. But for me, as a Cowboys fan, non-biased here, I would say that this deal was not surprising. I told you guys weeks back that this was where I thought it was going to go. Now, the question is, and we're going to go over this in our mock draft that's going to be happening in about April, the first week of April. We're going to do a first-round mock draft, and then we're going to do a second-round mock draft. Irv will be on that, our co-host. He's got a special thing in his brain that's thinking, why would the Giants do here? And for me, I'm thinking that the Giants are going to try to pick up Shedeur Sanders at number 3. Irv will tell you that he thinks that they're going to go Travis Hunter, and they're waiting till next year. But we'll go over that in general more later on during April. He'll be able to really go into depth and tell you guys what his thoughts are on that. But the Giants picking up Russell Wilson is key because they're able to have that veteran leadership. And on top of that, they picked up Jameis Winston, and they still got Tommy DeVito. So basically, you can go in there and go get a Travis Hunter and then build and try to get that quarterback next year and see what you can do with that. But I think that's not what they can do. I think they try to get that young quarterback, get that underneath the center behind Russell Wilson, have him learn from Jameis Winston, who's not a bad quarterback. He's an average quarterback. He's not a crazy starter, but he's an average good quarterback that has been in the league for a while and been a leader of a team. And Russell Wilson, who is a Super Bowl winner and a guy that's been to multiple of them, been to an NFC championship and been in some big time games. So I think that's where they're going to go in, and they're going to get a young guy to get underneath Russell Wilson and see where he's at. And he can learn the process of becoming the real quarterback and see where he goes from there. And I think next year they cut Russell Wilson. They have the guy coming in, and we'll see what that happens. Me wondering who will ruin my bracket. Again, Friday, guys, we're going to be recapping March Madness from Thursday and going into what games we have coming Friday. We'll be more talking about March Madness on Friday's podcast. What do you think the Pats will do, and what situation is most likely you think? So the Pats, we just talked about the Patriots. You just missed it if you weren't in here, user 425. Etc. For me, I think the Patriots, they have Drake May. They have a good situation there. They bring Stefon Diggs. I think they roll in and they try to get Travis Hunter, I believe, at 4. I think Travis Hunter goes to New England. It brings a good system there. You get 2 bona fide potential 1 and 2 wide receivers for Drake May to give. You have a solid tight end. Your defense is not horrible. but it needs work. And most of their work is helping on that secondary. Their front line is not terrible. Their linebacking core could use some work, but it's not horrible. But their secondary was really bad last year. When it comes to just being able to cover guys, it just wasn't the right situation. So I'm thinking Travis Hunter at 4, you guys will be good. You get a cornerback, potentially, and a wide receiver potentially. And I think he's two of those both positions. I think he's two of the best in the draft this year at both of those positions. He's saying I'm hoping for Hunter, but I'm thinking him and Abdul go on by 4. Oh, so you're thinking both of them are gone by 4? Well, then that case, that would mean Cam Ward would go to Tennessee. Abdul Carter would get picked by Cleveland, and then the Giants would pick Travis Hunter. So then that would lead you guys, and obviously you're not picking Shador, so that would probably leave you guys with another wide receiver that you would have to try to get. Maybe the guy from, I believe it's not Arizona. I forgot the actual guy. Or maybe you go with an Ashton Genty. I don't know if he's going to go that high, but maybe you need a running back. I don't know. That's something we'll be going over on the mock draft. I haven't really looked at that. You feel like you have to trade here. I mean, you might, depending on who's available. And who might want you to trade. But if you did trade, would you just trade a pick swap, like pick to pick, or would you actually trade for somebody for that pick? And if so, user, what is that person that you think? But for me, guys, I think the Giants, for a non-biased person as a Cowboys fan, I really think that it is the right move to pick Russell Wilson. I told you guys it was going to happen, and it did. And that's just the way it has to be, because you need that stability at the helm, and you need that guy underneath. Sports Talk with Aiden. What's up, my brother? How you doing, man? Appreciate you joining the live, brother. So yeah, again, MetLife looking nice, bringing in Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's heading to Pittsburgh. I don't think anywhere else. And I think, like I said, guys, earlier, Russell Wilson is the right move for the Giants. But they just need to make the right decision when it comes to this draft pick. I don't care what any Giants fan says. You're dumb if you want to go and get Travis Hunter and then have another abysmal performance. The problem with the Giants is not because their fans don't want to watch it. I was in class today. A fan was a Giants fan all his life. He did not watch a game last year because it's so embarrassing to watch them. Again, that is the point. You go get that rookie quarterback. You're going to have wide receivers out there. You have a wide receiver out already. I mean, Malik Neighbors. Obviously, you want to get that number 2. And if that's Travis Hunter, fine. And if you want to go in the next draft and get one of the top quarterbacks like an Arch Manning, we'll be going over that. Irvin has a story about that. But for right now, I think you rock and get Shador Sanders. Have him learn under Russell Wilson, a mobile quarterback, a guy that can throw the damn football, has a lot of good accuracy, and you get Jameis Winston, who's a gunslinger. You learn from him. So there's a lot of things you can learn from. Sports Talk with Aiden says Wilson will put the Giants into mid-pack, but not winning nothing. Exactly. So you at least keep your fans honest, even though we know that air ain't going to do anything, but at least you keep your fans honest. And that's what they want. They want the fans to be able to root for something, for shit to be like somewhat respectable. You guys can be in games. You're not getting blown out by 25. Russ and Sanders will save Dable's job. Exactly, Brian. And that's another thing. I think Dable's a great coach. But if they don't do the right move in this draft and they F it up and they have another bad, horrible-ass season next year, Dable's gone by the end of next year. He might be gone halfway through the year, depending on their record. You saw what they did to Robert Saleh, which I think was absolutely horrible. But, Brian, you got a point. I agree with you big time on that. But at the same time, again, like I said, we have to understand there's a lot of moving pieces with this move. Giants, get a veteran quarterback. You got to make the right move with getting the young dude under center. Because let's say you're not keeping Russell Wilson next year. You're not going to, even if you keep Jameis Winston, he's not the right guy if you're trying to get a guy next year. If that is Arch Manning, he's not the right guy. Russell Wilson would be the right guy. So why are you even waiting? Get that Shador Sanders in that door and see what he's got and let him learn under one of the best quarterbacks we've had in this decade. And I'm going to say that Russell Wilson has had a very great career. Been one of the best quarterbacks in the league numerous times in his career. I just think you got to make the right move. And if you don't make it, Dable's going to be gone either halfway through the season or at the end of the season. Those are the two options. And I think the Giants, if they fumble it again, oh lordy lord. But just before I let you guys go, it's a 1-year deal up to $21 million, including $10.5 million guaranteed. That was what we were told from Adam Schefter. So it's not a crazy contract. Obviously, it's a 1-year contract, but it is worth $21 million, and 10.5 is guaranteed. So, like we said, guys, it's the right move. You just got to make the right decision in the draft. And I think picking Shador Sanders at 3 is the right move. You got a plethora of other wide receivers and guys that you can bring on to help your team out this coming year. But you got to get that quarterback situation right, because we don't know. Arch Manning or one of these guys have not played. They've been under other guys. Like Arch Manning's been under Ewers this whole year. He played a couple games and he's been in there, but he hasn't played a full season. We don't know what he's going to be like playing a full season for Texas. And I want to see that. And that will really tell where the hell they're going. But if they don't pick Shador, then we all know. Ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to go get one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. And I think Arch Manning is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the draft next year. Brian says Sanders likely sits this year and plays next year. Just wish New York would have patience with Dable. Agreed. I think that's why they picked Russell Wilson. That's exactly what I said 3 weeks ago. That's exactly when the Jets let go Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers was on the radar of the Giants. I was like, hell no. Russell Wilson will be in there most definitely. I did not see the signing of Jameis Winston as the backup quarterback. That quarterback room is absolutely nuts. Have one of the craziest memes for each of those guys ever. You got the Russell Wilson thing with Broncos country. You got Jameis Winston with his crazy ass interviewing at the Super Bowl, and you got Tommy DeVito with the shit at I think was it the ESPYs or the NFL awards, whatever the hell it was. So you got some crazy shit in that locker room. So it's pretty nuts out there. But other than that, I would say that this has been a pretty crazy free agency, trade deadline, whatever you want to call it for the NFL. And it's gonna be a whirlwind come draft day. But again, guys, like I said, April 2nd, right? March 31st is a Monday. So April 2nd is a Wednesday. We will be doing our mock draft, first round that day. And then on that Friday, the 4th, we'll be doing our mock draft 2, which would be our second round, just to let you guys know. So also, before I let you go for our last somewhat segment, I would have to let you guys know opening day is tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, for the MLB. I don't know if you guys are MLB fans out there, but as a Yankees guy, it's not looking too well, man. We got about 8 guys on the IL starting off in the season. 4 big names: Luis Gil, Giancarlo Stanton, DJ LeMahieu, and our guy Ace Garrett Cole's out for the year. So we got some notable names on that IL that's going to be there for a pretty long, extensive time. So we'll see how we come out. We play the Brewers tomorrow, 3:05, I believe. It's gonna be cool to see baseball back. But yeah, stay tuned on Friday. We're gonna have a lot more baseball talk to recap how the first game was for Juan Soto, Cody Bellinger, a bunch of other guys who moved in the off season, and we're gonna have March Madness back. Obviously, tomorrow started the Sweet 16. Friday will be the next day, so we're gonna have that recapping the games on Thursday, and then going over what's happening for Friday. And then finally, that will be pretty much it. And then we'll talk to you guys on Recap Monday. But guys, this was season S7, episode 15 here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. We had a great show today. I appreciate all the support out there. Thank you for all who joined, commented, and liked the live. We are powered by StreamYard, where streaming makes the dream yard go. And we will see you guys on Friday for season 7, episode number 16 on the Fire Sports Pod. I'll catch you guys then. Peace out. Have a great rest of your night.